Well, hello Leeds United fans from a sunny York Arches, well, mild York Arches I have to say. We're here outside the Phoenix pub in York, and I wanted to discuss a few things regarding Leeds United and what's been going on today really in your news. And it's kind of exciting news really. There's a little bit of a development when it comes to Leeds United's right-back addition, which it looks like we're primarily focusing on. There's a lot of discussion, there's a lot of discourse around Ben Johnson at West Ham United. There's a lot of discourse as well about Leeds United targeting that position. It'll be really interesting to see how this aligns with the retained list. We know about Sam Byram. Is he going to be kept on? Connor Roberts is going to be formulaically part of Burnley's setup next season, alongside Charlie Taylor as a right back and a left back with that sort of defensive balance. So what do Leeds United do? Luke Ayling's just signed a 2-year deal with Middlesbrough, and the question comes to the fore, well, what are we doing now? Archie is going to move into midfield, so Leeds are staring down the barrel of a gun really when it comes to the right back additions. And the barrel of the gun is simply, we don't have any. Archie Gray is a right back and has been a superb right back this season for Leeds United, but it's not his natural position. We all want to see that insane partnership that we saw against Chelsea, that we've seen at points at the start of the season between Archie and Ampadu, that lovely balance that they've got, the lovely sort of complementary factors that both have in their game in midfield. And potentially Gruev and Kamara on the bench. If we're being completely ruthless and transparent about this, it elevates Leeds United's midfield, so it opens up a gap for a right back option. And I'm going to throw to you Gilchrist at Chelsea. Apparently, according to several reports, the 20-year-old is heavily linked with Leeds United, and Leeds have already made an inquiry about the right back. Now, this might be paper talk, but this is why we get involved in this sort of stuff. It's to discuss this, it's to discuss the player, the relationship, and there's a reason that I put Crysencio Somerville in the title. I mentioned previously that I think Leeds have built up good relations with Chelsea, hence the Ethan Ampadu signing. I think Chelsea would splash big cash on Crysencio Somerville. I think we're looking at about upwards of 30 million quid. We've spoken about this, it's been muted. 25, 30 million quid, rising costs, and I think I'm of the mindset right now of just sell him. We know it's going to happen, get it done early, and we can use that money potentially we can use it for financial reward when it comes to putting it against our accounts, but we can also use it for transfer dealings as well. Really, really positive. We get that done early. It enables Leeds United to be aggressive because our PSR and club health is so good when it comes to the financial status, backed up by numerous reports. So how you've got to look at this in essence is that Leeds United, if they've built up this relationship with Chelsea with the wonderful negotiation they did for Ethan Ampadu for 7 million quid, which is one of the best acquisitions you'll ever get at this level for that price. If they're able to sell Crysencio Somerville to Todd Bowley for a very decent price, 25 million, rising to potentially 30 or just 30 outright, maybe even rising to 35, Leeds are then building up a good relation. And if I'm Leeds United, I am then looking at potential stars that Chelsea have that we can then utilise on a loan basis. The problem with Leeds is we've been stifled, I think, for many years by our loan progression, our loan strategy, which I think has been nothing short of ponderous. I think it's been okay. I think a little bit average, but I thought at some points Leeds might think they're a bit too good for the loan market and we can sustain ourselves without that temporary solution. The beautiful thing about this right now is if we're building this relationship up with Chelsea, I mentioned this previously on several streams, we can pinch a few of their loanies with the Somerville transaction. They're able to get him from Leeds, a Premier League player, someone who could fit into any top 4, top 6 side, in my opinion, squad level at least. And then Leeds United can do their due diligence and ask for something in return and essentially do what we kind of did with Sinisterra and Anthony, but just not almost go to them at the very back end of the window and Angus Kinnear just BS us all and say, oh yeah, we were looking at Jadon Anthony throughout the summer and this was perfect. No, it wasn't, Angus. We were never looking at Jadon Anthony. We didn't want to sell Sinisterra and that was public and clear. So this is us actually being proactive. This is actually using a recruitment director in the correct way, analysing, strategic planning, and utilising not only the capital, but the methodology in the madness as well of getting some of these players in a transactional sense as well, you know, exchanging value for value. So obviously at our level, we know that we're not going to be able to go out and get a Gilchrist. He's played 11 times for Chelsea this season in the Premier League. He's played 4 or 5 times as well in cup competitions, and he's very, very highly rated at Chelsea. And this is what I was talking about earlier when it came to signings. I was talking about Van den Berg. I was talking about other loan signings coming into Leeds United. I've been talking about Callum O'Hare on free agent status. These are sort of individuals where Leeds need to be cute. Leeds need to be smart. Leeds need to use guile, but also use that sort of ruthlessness as well. Get a signing like this done early. Sort out that right back option. It's going to be a young addition, of course it is, but that's what you need to do in the Championship. You need to go and get your young stars that can flourish in the Championship and then can move up. We've got some on our own doorstep. We don't need to get into that, but the beauty of this is a Gilchrist coming in who gives you a real defensive stability, gives you appearances at the top level. We were speaking at the beginning of the season about Jadon Anthony having 4 appearances for Bournemouth, but throughout the entire season, Gilchrist had, I think it was 13, 14 appearances for Chelsea, and then he'd be coming down because of more playing time, because Poch isn't there. They might not be invigorating the youth a little bit more, or he just might not be favoured. He might not be favoured for the new man. I mean, Chelsea's new man is up in the air, isn't it? It could be McKenna, highly doubtful, but it could be Enzo Maresca. He might not fancy him. You've also got Reece James there, so the likelihood of the best right back, arguably in the country, being almost depositioned, if that is a word, by Gilchrist is quite unlikely. So let's be brutally honest here. A loan signing is obvious, and this is what I was talking about earlier when you're looking at other loan signings when it comes to Van den Berg. On loan at Mainz, come back, has done really, really well, but hasn't really established himself in the English pyramid yet. That will be an excellent signing on loan by Leeds United, and I think this is kind of what we need to be looking at, really. Just these astute, cute signings. Leeds just implementing a little bit of guile and improvisation when it comes to just going away from the status quo, the obvious loanees. And I think Gilchrist is definitely one of those, and that'll be a really welcome signing for me at Leeds United. Someone, as I say, who's played at Premier League level, someone who could definitely make that step up, and someone who's physical, he's athletic. We always use the same sort of terminology for a lot of these defensive signings, but it's because they're Premier League players and they're young lads, and they've been brought up in the academy system, of which they all have physical prowess, athleticism, and they're good going forward and they're good at the back. And it's going to be a really interesting sort of period of time to see how we utilise this Somerville deal, because it's not only the capital, but what can Leeds get in return. Let me know what you think, everybody, in the comment section below. Fascinated to hear. See you in a bit.